Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm gonna start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Yahweh who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahushai who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Now, I've been seeing a lot of videos lately, in recommendation, and, just if I search Apocrypha on YouTube, I want to say if you go to if you just go to the search bar, you can do this for yourself, and look up Apocrypha. Just type in the word Apocrypha, and you're going to find out that about 80 to 90% of the videos on there are about refuting the Apocrypha and so-called, quote-unquote, proving that the Apocrypha is not inspired by the Most High. It isn't basically, a false text, for lack of better words. Now I find this to be, other stupidity and self-contradictory to make such a statement. Now, before anybody gets on there and says, well, why should I believe you, ETT, and not believe Bible Flockbox? Or as Sakari says, Bible Blockhead. Inside joke. The reason what I would answer to that is, for one, I myself, Yasha, ETT, I've actually read the entire Bible front to back, including the Holy Apocrypha. Scriptures also say, Isaiah 28:10, precept must be upon precept. Hear a little and there a little to get the understanding of the scriptures. Okay, so understanding that, we, have to build off that. Okay, so I'm going to prove not by quote-unquote history, or not by what the Bible colleges teaches, but rather I'm going to prove in the Bible itself. I'm going to link the Apocrypha up with the Bible, and I'm clearly going to prove by just a handful. I'm just going to give free proofs. Now I have a paper I have somewhere in the house, I don't know where it is, but I have like 20 proofs on there that the Apocrypha is part of the Bible, where I take 20 different scriptures in the Apocrypha and clearly line them up with the Bible. But that's for a future video, we'll do that. I'm just going to take free. You probably heard of these before, maybe you haven't. But they're all going to be edifying. And clearly, without a shadow of a doubt, clearly proves that the Apocrypha is part of the Bible. And before I even get into the proof, I'm going to be reading out of the New Testament when I compare the Apocrypha with the Bible. Now, I want you to keep in mind, it is a historical fact that the Apocrypha was written a few hundred years before Christ existed, before the New Testament. So if the New Testament is quoting the Apocrypha, it is not the Apocrypha quoting the New Testament. Somebody might say, well, the Apocrypha is quoting it, so it means it was interpreted wrong. No, the men who wrote the New Testament were quoting from the Apocrypha, and I'm going to prove it. And it's lucky I got to keep my voice down a little bit. It's a little, early in the morning here, and I live in an apartment, so, in case you were wondering. But anyway, nevertheless, I'm going to prove my statement. Just very low level milk scriptures to prove my belief. And not just my belief, I should say my point on how I am clearly correct with what I am saying. Anyway, proof number 1. The book of Matthew chapter 7 and verse 13 is the same as 2nd Ezra's chapter 7. Alright, and I'm going to read Matthew 7 first. Matthew chapter 7 verse 13. Enter ye in at the strait gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way which leads to destruction, and there be many which go in thereat. Because strait is the gate and narrow is the way which leads unto life. There be few that find it. Now remember that. Okay, remember that. That's from the Bible. Okay, now let's read in the Apocrypha, where it pretty much says the exact same thing. Alright, let me just pull it up real quick. Okay. It's a little longer, but nevertheless, it still proves the point. 2nd Ezra chapter 7 verse 1, it says, And when I made an end of speaking these words, there was sent unto me the angel which had been sent to me the nights before. And he said unto me, Up, Ezra, and hear the words which I am come to tell thee. And I said, Speak, O my God. Then said he unto me, The sea is set in a wide place, that it might be deep and great. But put the case, the entrance were narrow and like a river. Who then could go into the sea to look upon it, and to rule it? If he went not through the narrow, how could he come into the broad? There is also another thing. A city is builded, and is set upon a field, and is full of all good things. The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there, let me turn the page, like as if there were a fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water, and one path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go in there at once. If the city was now given unto a man for an inheritance, if he shall never pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? Clearly, Matthew was quoting the Holy Apocrypha when he wrote Matthew, the 7th chapter. Clearly, undeniable, that clearly lines up. It says a little different, but the point of the matter is it speaks about the same narrow path that Ezra was talking about. Clearly, undeniable evidence right there. So that's strike one. Also in the book of Matthew, matter of fact, this is going to be the words of Christ himself. Guys, when they're talking about Jesus never quoted the Apocrypha. Oh, really? I beg to differ with you. Christ did quote Christ, Slakia. Christ, or his real name Jehoshai. He did quote the Apocrypha. And I have the evidence right here. This is in red letter. Matthew chapter 23 and verse 37. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that kills the prophets and stones them which are said unto thee, how often would I have gathered thy children together, even as a hen gathers her chickens under her wings, and ye would not. Remember that. Remember that. Okay. Let me just pull up the scripture in the Apocrypha. So I previously just read Matthew chapter 23, verse 37. And to link it with the Apocrypha, I'm going to read the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter chapter 1, 2nd Ezra chapter 1 and verse 30 says, I have gathered you as a hen gathers her chickens under her wings. But now what shall I say unto you? I will cast you out from my face. Clearly, Christ himself made clear reference to the Apocrypha. Undeniable, that cannot be denied. That is clearly a reference to the Apocrypha. Alright, for now, my last, proof that I'm going to show in this video is actually in the Apocrypha quoting the Bible. Okay. Let me just pull it up real quick. Okay, this is, remember this was written 400 years, roughly. 400 years before Christ was on earth. Okay, this is in the Apocrypha. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 7, verse 28. Says, from my son Jesus shall be revealed with those that be with him, and they that remain shall rejoice within 400 years. And after these years shall my son Christ die, and all men that have life. But the point of the matter is clearly that is a prophecy of the coming of who the world calls Christ in the Apocrypha, just like the Old Testament in what is that? I believe it's Isaiah the 53rd chapter predicts the coming of the Messiah, which is who? Christ, Yahushai. In the New Testament. And clearly the Apocrypha, which is after the Old Testament but before the New Testament, also gives a prophecy of Christ. Undeniable. That's clearly what it is talking about here. Okay, so anybody who teaches and believes that the Apocrypha is not inspired of the Most High clearly is just on a low level of understanding. because clearly the evidence has been presented, and Christianity, or not Christianity as a whole, because some Christians actually believe in the Apocrypha, but all you cats out there who are talking against it, you clearly got your ass handed to you. Okay, spiritually just disintegrated. Or in other words, this was a spiritual KO. No way around it. Clearly, the Apocrypha is inspired by these three simple evidences out of well over 30 evidences that exist. So, yeah, you can, re-upload this and share this, get the message out. Because, a lot of people don't know about this. Okay, but anyway, I'm going to say shalom.